Hello, and welcome to July 2nd. I don't even know what date it is today anymore. Welcome to July 2nd and the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. For this first half hour, we'll be catching up on all things 4th of July in Hopkinton and otherwise. And then in the second half hour, if you haven't had enough of me, there will be a pre-recorded interview, rebroadcast of me interviewing Chief Slammin. So, please welcome to my intrepid crew today, Mike, Bob, and Matt. Hi, guys.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
So, guys, what are we doing this weekend to celebrate the 4th of July other than putting a very patriotic background? Mike, when you do the thumbs up, nobody can see you.
All right, so I guess I got to say, yes, patriotic background. There's a change between this or one waving flag. I went with this.
All right. So I'm going down to Connecticut. My mother-in-law is down there, and there's lots of things going on. My daughter's going off to Kansas to be with her husband in a couple of weeks. So we are going down on Saturday. We're bringing a picnic lunch and spending a few hours down there with a physically distant visit. And that's really going to be the bulk of our 4th of July. How about anybody else?
So it being, 4th of July and everything, and Independence Day, and Noah's husband is in the Army, which we want to thank him for his service, and glad that they get to be together again. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
great.
She's very, very ready. It's been several months.
I was going to say, it's been a while.
Getting things. She was finishing up her degree, and he's getting settled down there. So
she's
very excited.
It's nice how that it got to work out, that they got to finish up a couple things, but yeah, that's a long time for newlyweds to be apart.
Yep, definitely.
Long time. So myself, I'm actually working this weekend, the long weekend, because we do have Friday off, and we'll mention it now. There will not be a hangout hour on Friday. So we'll be, I'll be working it. Oh, there won't be a new one. I'm sorry, a new episode of the Hangout Hour. I'm sorry, it will be a rerun. So I will be working at the fire station both on Friday and Sunday, which leaves Saturday off to do not much.
There's so much you can do these days.
Normally I'd be in the Harbles Parade. Normally, the Natick Parade or all these parades that have been canceled are gone. I'm sure one of my friends will be barbecuing, and I'll wind up over there with a couple people, but that's probably it.
Yeah, we were thinking about, we always love to have hamburgers and hot dogs, although my mother-in-law only has an electric grill, and I was very concerned about that. I've never used one before, and I can't imagine how quickly it would work. So we're going with the sandwich option.
Yes, let's put it this way. You got to plug those in early. I had one. You got to plug them in early. They are pretty good.
Yeah. How about you, Bob? Anything exciting going on?
Well, it's not going to be exciting. Normally we would be with family someplace, but this year it's tough. My oldest granddaughter just graduated from her high school in Bryn Mawr in Baltimore. And normally we would have been down there for big graduation celebrations. But this year, Jane and I are just staying around here. I'll be grilling out. I usually grill out every day anyway, so it won't be anything special. But I'll have my steak and probably our traditional blueberry pie that she likes to have. Sometimes we'll go up to Maine with her brother and sister-in-law because she likes to get the blueberries from Maine, but not this year. This year, we're just going to be around here, and I'm sure it'll be another honeydew weekend for me.
Those are always good. By the way, Mike mentioned we'll be having a repeat of the Hangout Hour tomorrow. We also will be having a repeat of Keep Moving tomorrow, which is the 10 a.m. Friday live show from the Senior Center. So that'll be a rebroadcast tomorrow. And I believe this is our first Friday night post Friday night series. So Cheryl Peralt has been running a series for us on Friday nights, bringing music and spoken word and poetry and just sharing art. So that has concluded last week, and there will not be any more. Although now she has moved on to a new thing. She is awesome. She's just
That was
awesome.
fast.
I know she isn't she. We just love her here. So now that is over, there's a new thing, and it's actually a web page, and it's at hcam.tv/hope and community. And what that is, she is collecting works of art and video and poetry and everything that comes across her way that is supportive of hope and community in these times. So the page just went up this morning, and I just instructed my staff to activate the multimedia empire and get that link out there. It's on our homepage, hcam.tv, if you'd like to see it and visit that. And there's also an email on there. Hopefully, if you may wish to submit your own piece of work to go on there. Oh, and here comes Mike with the screen share.
To show you.
Right here.
So that's the news story. That's the actual page. And then it has all the links on the left with a little description on the right, except for the first one, because it would break the it would break the formatting of the columns if I had put the picture on the left like the other things.
That looks great, Joe.
Yeah, thanks. It's you know what? I'm telling you, I don't care what we have to do. Whenever something of Cheryls wraps up, we're gonna find something else.
You got that right. Well, she's still working on Meet Your Neighbor, and we're trying to work on a virtual one, which didn't really work out too well. So we're waiting till we can start taping again in people's homes or outside. And she hasn't stopped. Granted, she did stop. Wake Up and Smell the Poetry. This was her final year after 14 seasons, and I get that, which is wonderful. But we also, she also got to bring us a virtual layout, which was weekly, and it lasted all the way through June. Normally, we end in May.
Yeah.
So we did get some extra out of it because, she does go, but she's, she knows when something's over. She doesn't want to stretch it out. She knows when time's up, unless you convince her for another season.
I'll tell you, you know what? I mean, I haven't given up hope. She may get close to that the traditional starting point of her season and say, hey, I have to, excuse me.
Yep.
Yes. Yep. I may, she may have to say, oh, you know what? It's kind of like hard to let go because I don't know. Maybe you're right, Mike. Maybe she knows when it's time, but I just never do. I just think I love the community that comes together in the studio behind me here on a third Saturday of the month. It's great. So, however, what will be, right?
Well, I tell you, I've always enjoyed it. Poetry wasn't my thing. Spoken word, not my thing. I love the music. Always loved the music. But to see and feel the energy that came into this studio transformed. It wasn't just a basic TV studio anymore. It turned so artsy, and the creativeness in that room between not just your features, but everyone that was doing the open mic. And everyone brought something different. You never knew what was going to happen every Saturday of every third Saturday of the month. It was great. And that's why I was glad to be a part of it from the start and stuck with it for so long. I enjoyed them.
Yes, I agree. And she's got something else going on in July too. She's got a really cool thing, and I'm going to find this information. And while I look for it, Nat, why don't you tell us what your traditional 4th of July events are and what you might be doing this year?
Well, usually on the 4th of July, my mom's side of the family, who all live in town, or mostly live in town, get together for a cookout. One of my aunts and uncles, they live on Lake Maspinock. So when we were kids, we used to go swimming, and sometimes we would go out on their boat and do tubing and stuff. Not so much anymore these days, especially since, a lot of my older cousins have kids of their own who are doing that now. But I haven't heard anything about any plans this year, obviously. So I don't know what we're doing. I was thinking about doing some grilling myself. I bought a new charcoal grill this year, and I've been learning how to use that. I made some really good honey mustard grilled chicken this week. So I might try out a new recipe or something.
Honey mustard grilled chicken. That sounds actually kind of delicious.
It is delicious. I love honey mustard on chicken regardless. And it was a homemade honey mustard recipe. I have to say it's not what I usually like for like dipping chicken tenders in. I like my honey mustard a little bit sweeter, a little bit creamier. This recipe is really tangy, a little bit spicy, a good amount of kick to it. It's so good as a glaze though. It's just amazing.
Oh, that's good. So you know what? I can't find this thing. However, Mike, I sent it to you in the past day or two. You may have more details, but she has an event she'll be doing in Natick, which is her and another artist doing something. And I don't remember right at this moment because it was a few days ago that she sent
I'll
it
look
to me.
for it.
But she's
Jim,
always got something going on.
One of the things I wanted to point out about that, now you all know that I'm not a fan of wake up and smell the poetry every Saturday,
No.
but I have to admit that doing the Friday night wake up calls with Cheryl, she brought in people from all over the country. It wasn't just people that could make it to HCAM Studios. They came in. We had people from California, from New York, and Florida, all over the country. So Cheryl has a large network of artists and friends and acquaintances that she can bring to bear for these shows. So I actually look forward to possibly more shows on air. I think Zoom may not be going away. I don't know how soon or even if she wants to get back in the studio for Saturdays, but it's possible that we could continue to do some kind of evening shows. I hope so.
Yeah, right now she doesn't have any plans for that. And just as we've kind of talked off air and sometimes on air, that being forced to create programming this way over Zoom has really stretched us in a way that we would not have been stretched before. And it's really revealing a different aspect of connecting to community. I was talking with a couple of nonprofit organizations in town over the past week, and they were saying things like, well, thanks for inviting us to come on HCAM. However, we're promoting that our members stay at home and stay safe, so it would be kind of not right if we all gathered in your studio with 6 of us. So I point out that we have the hangout hour and everybody's at Zoom and everybody's at home staying safe. So these are ways that we can do this. And when we do eventually get back into the studio, something like this should continue on.
Right.
And I mean, if she was going to do another season of Wake Up, Smell the Poetry on Saturday mornings, imagine if one of her features were across the country in California, coming to us through Zoom or Google Meet up on the big screen in front of there. It would really have a cool energy to it.
Right, absolutely. We can run it through our equipment. The quality and the sound would be better. I think, yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
The other thing too is for certain things like this, there are equipment packages and different types of technology. I have a really good camera here. I have one of our studio cameras that gives me a really good image. And are you using a studio camera, Mike?
No, I'm using a high end.
Yeah. Okay. So I also have an HD webcam, like you have an HD webcam. And you know what? An HD webcam and a USB microphone can really up the value, the production value and the quality of what we're doing. So, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about what should we do? How, if we could like get a package to somebody and they can have really good production value on their end coming into our show.
Right.
That could be very helpful.
Yeah, I think a whole package with directions, a return label and things so they can send it back when they're done. Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Jim, I just want to bring up, I don't know if you noticed, remember Sasha Yachenko?
Oh, of course.
The original
winner of the Hopkinton Idol show.
Yeah, she goes by Sasha Sloan, and she's very, very famous now, touring across the country and everything. Well, she was recently interviewed in the Hopkins Independent, and one of the nice things, because we always talked about her how well she was doing and so forth. And I always said, remember the little people, remember the little people. And sure enough, in here, Sloan also mentioned H Camp, specifically Mike Terosian and Jim Cousins, who gave her a local access show and, she said with a laugh, supported every bad idea I had. Isn't that
Wow.
just wonderful?
That is correct. She's such a great kid.
She is just
Such a great
outstanding.
kid.
Just so outstanding. And I follow her on Twitter and IG and Spotify. And, you know, I get her CDs when they come out. She's doing very. I still see her mother in town.
Yeah.
You know, she's doing fantastic, and it was nice to see that little thing. And I didn't know about that. I knew she was interviewed, but I didn't read it.
Yeah.
And someone came up to me the other day and says, "Oh, look at you! You're famous now because of my interview there." And then he says, "Oh, and then that musician that's becoming famous now mentioned you in the thing." I said, "Oh, really?" So then I went looking and found it. And I said, "Jim's gonna love this." That she remembered the little people because we first met her when "Wake Up and Smell the Poetry" was being filmed at the library. Remember?
Yes.
And she
Yep.
was like one of the first ones, and we said, "Oh my God, listen to this voice!" And she was even one of our first fillers.
Yep.
We're just using music from that, so it's great to see her career just skyrocketing, and she takes a minute to mention the little people.
That's tremendous. I think that is just so awesome, and it's so exciting when they're able to kind of learn some skills and get some experience here. And over the past couple of years, teaching TV at the high school, I have students who, I'm not saying they're interested in it because of me, but like were interested in. And one of them has gone to Emerson for film, and another one is doing film at Framingham State. Is it State University in Framingham?
Yes.
Yes.
So like it's just and they come back and they email me and they show me some projects that they're working on. It's really nice. It's can be a hard field, to make money in and to create life from. But when you're a creative and this is just inside of you,
Right.
and you're going to do this, it's a great opportunity to come in and get involved. That there's no risk here. You're not paying for it. There's no structure where you have to do something. They're free to really create what they want to create and work on what they want to. It's very exciting.
It's amazing how now, which we didn't have in our day, the internet to help you become and give you more stuff for people to see. There are so many more opportunities for people to get into television, whether that's a little small group, whether it could be a theater group, it could be a film group, or some kind of little small production house, because there's so much more independent things going on. There's more opportunity. Whereas before, I just hope, oh, would I be famous enough to work for Channel 5 or ESPN or ABC, stuff like that. There is just so much more to do out there.
There really is. There really is. One thing I wanted to mention, Mike, What have you heard? What do you feel? There's been a lot of talk about thanking service members for their service, and thanking first responders and thanking hospital workers for what they do. And I have read not a lot from the actual people themselves. And what I have read from them is that oftentimes they feel uncomfortable with that and thinking that it puts them on a pedestal and, they're doing their job that they're passionate about. I'm trying to think what you think about what you encountered around them.
I encounter it all the time, and it's you're doing what you love, you're doing your career. It's tough to get it, thanking someone for their service is really tough. You don't have to come up. I think I would rather see people just show their thanks by paying it forward to others or being kind to others, and not just the individuals. I mean, we get thanked a lot. There's people that drop off thank yous, cookies, or whatever. People see you outside thanking you, but in this pandemic time, we find ourselves thanking the delivery driver from Uber, or thanking your Uber driver, or thanking somebody that just stayed in business so you can still live. Okay, I need a break from cooking. There's a restaurant I can order from. We want to thank them because they are the ones that are still out there going to work, and the delivery drivers are still coming to meet the people. So, can I put them on the same pedestal? Absolutely. But after a while, it's like, hey, we're just doing our job because we're trying to stay busy and we care. So,
Yeah.
I personally, I hate it when they go, oh, thank you for your service. It's like, this is my job. Thank me. I even get it at HCAM. Hey, thank you for connecting the community and whatever. And it's like, you know what? It's a fun job. You know what it's like. I don't have to tell you or Matt or Bob what it's like to work at HCAM. This is what we do. This is what we enjoy. And yes, we are providing a service. Yes, we do. And we take pride in connecting. That's our mission, is connecting the community. So I feel that even being thanked at HCAM is a little humbling.
I was reading an article about one person who was a nurse, and that person gave a perspective that I thought was really neat. The person was saying, when people thank me for my service, that is my job. That's what I signed up for. That is what I want to do with my life. And rather than that, I would appreciate people just saying, how are you doing? And just showing some concern and some caring.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Something different. Something different. Say, oh, thank you. Yeah, I didn't do this to be up here, and I'm not up here. I think any janitor does more important job than I do. I mean, they do it every day. You ask the first responders, are they saving lives every day? There's some days that they may not leave a station or save somebody's actual life. But you look at these janitors keeping these places clean every day. They're right in the middle of it. Listen, we all have a job to do. Everybody has a job to do. There is nobody better than the next guy. That's me.
I'll jump. That's what I agree with that. I think, you know what? All work is noble. All what people do to fulfill themselves, to be the person that they want to be and contribute to their community and to their society. It's all fantastic. And I think that it's really interesting that this pandemic has illustrated a whole nother group. Who would have thought of grocery store cashiers as being, heroes, being heroic? I mean, right. And they had to go to work through the worst of it. And if they didn't, we'd all be dead. We'd all be dead. Because I often say I'm really happy that God makes people who like to do different things. Because otherwise, I would have to grow food for my family.
Right, exactly.
And I don't like that.
And I don't even know where to buy bacon seeds. So, no, but you're right. You're right. We don't stand a chance surviving without these stores being open. These people, waiting on us. I mean, I could have. You know what? Hey, let's think of it. Let's turn our world around into the Star Trek theory, where everyone has their job to do. No one does it for money. Everyone just does their thing. You don't see them thanking the guy in the red shirt that's going down on that away team that he's not coming back.
I know, but Mike, you know what their society is called? A post-scarcity society.
Correct.
Okay, energy abounds; it's unlimited, and they have replicators, can make anything they want. There's nothing that anybody needs. Therefore, it becomes the challenge. And in today's world, sadly, there are too many people who are so stressed out and under such pressure just to survive. I mean, I wish that we could get there. And someday I think the human race is going to, because the trajectory of human history is generally on a positive tangent from
Sure.
what I can see.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
By the way, speaking of Star Trek, just today, my wife is also working from home, so there's a lot of noise, and I found this ambient noise generator on a couple of websites.
You did not.
Oh my gosh!
You did not find the bridge.
The Enterprise bridge as your ambient sound through your headphones to block out the rest of the noise.
The original series or next gen?
Mike, they have everything.
Cut it out.
No, they have specific shifts as well. It's crazy. And then they have this one where you can pick so many things. You can pick like a cafe that's at Hogwarts, or you can pick like the Slytherin common room, Dracula's castle, underwater caves. It's like so. It's
that is
amazing.
Ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
Those things are great.
Hey, well, I just speaking about great sound effects and everything, I just bought for my home echo system, the Alexa, I got the Sam L. Jackson voice.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the only thing was I thought it would happen all the time because I thought it'd be funny. I have people over and I would say, hey, you tell me the weather. And I noticed I didn't say the name because I didn't want the weather going on. So, and then it would be his voice. But no, you specifically have to say, hey, you have Sam L. Jackson tell me the weather.
Oh,
and he will. And or ask for a joke, which the reason I won't do that now is because it's not always a clean joke.
Of course. Of course. I don't know if you've seen the episodes of the animated series, The Clone Wars. The worst part of that series, in my opinion, is the voice that they have for Mace Windu. Oh, it is nothing like Samuel Jackson's voice at all.
Wow. That's something.
Obi-Wan, they do a great job on, and I think they do a great job with Anakin's character, but
yeah. I mean, I didn't listen that closely. I've seen a couple of them, but
yeah,
no, not for me.
It's so interesting. Season 7, which is the final season, the end of the series actually intersects with the end of episode 3, and they do things where when you see a scene in the movie, the scene continues in the animated series. They show you more of what happened during that particular scene. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Mike, stop getting me to talk about this. This is not what we're here for. We have, thank you, Bob. So, we have 2 minutes.
Yes, we have exactly 2. Well, we actually have 3.
Oh, because it's the next one's 29 minutes?
28:30, yeah.
Okay.
So, but I'm ready for it, and I'll introduce you. But when so listen, anyone this weekend now since we're not going to be out doing parades and so forth, any new series real quick that's coming up to watch?
I don't know any times, Obviously, Discovery was all shot, and that's coming out. They shot all of The Mandalorian, so they're editing that, so that'll be coming out. Other than that, I do not know what they've actually got in production. Right. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show didn't get started, and Picard didn't get started.
Yeah, I was hoping that Discovery would be released, but I'm having a funny feeling I got to wait till fall.
Oh, that got shot too. Yeah, I think they're going to wait till fall. Although I just heard, I didn't even notice this, CBS All Access started The Twilight Zone again, and they have 2 seasons season 2 is coming out.
Oh, no kidding.
Which, you know what? I don't even know why I say that. The original series was so good and so into like human nature and tales of morality and ethics and as well as like all the crazy stuff. And the new series just don't seem to do that. Star Trek, the original series, was so into social commentary.
Of course. Does it seem to be more sci-fi-ish than?
Well, I'll let you know when I watch it because I just
I meant the first season. You haven't seen any of the episodes when they came out.
Right.
Okay.
All right, that's it. I'm done. I got nothing else to say.
How about you, Bob? Any last words before you throw me out?
Yeah, I'm not going to throw you out, but I didn't know if Matt was going to do a preview, but I wanted to remind everybody that the Select Board is having a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock on HCAM Live so that they can introduce the new members of the board and maybe revote the structure of the board. So you wouldn't want to miss that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob.
Matt, anything else coming up?
Not much that's on my radar beyond that. That's what I was going to say.
Sunday service.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Sunday service at 10 o'clock, at 10:30 on Sunday.
That feels like it's forever away from here, but it's not.
All right, guys. So, all right, folks, thank you, everyone. Good seeing you. And we're going to send it back to Jim, and actually Bob, that I had a nice conversation with Chief Steve Slannon.
And here we are with Chief Slannon. How are you, sir?
Wonderful, thanks. I can't believe that he didn't get that question right. It's tattooed on his dad's arm. The number of years. I think it's either 37 or 43. I'm drawing a blank, but it's on his arm.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Chief, first thing, please tilt your camera down just a little bit.
I'll try.
All right. I know sometimes they're very sensitive. Yesterday's show, we had somebody who came in with her video sideways, and that was kind of funny.
All right. At least I can beat that somehow. How am I doing there?
All right. Well, thank you. I see. Looks like you're at work today.
I am working every day.
So first, can you just give us a status on what the department is, how this social isolating has affected your operations and your staffing or anything that goes on there?
Sure. So the status is much like the rest of the country. We're all hunkered down. We're hopefully practicing good hygiene, social distancing, and what we've done in Hopkinton, kind of specific to our working conditions, are I readjusted the staff a little bit so that I just have 4 set groups of people. I don't have any cross working between the groups. I've divided the groups into 2 fire stations right now. The Woodville station is open, and then headquarters. So we basically have 2 companies operating. And what that does is just try to minimize any chance of contamination. It's a system. The system starts with the firefighters checking in at work, and when they come in, and then when they leave work, we account for the fact that they're feeling well, they don't have any temperature, they've maintained good practices all day, and then that separation even between calls. We don't send as many resources to calls. We don't socialize with the public as much as we'd like to. We've done some limitations on, we don't do station tours right now. You have seen some new programs where we've done some of the birthday parties where we're out with the police and trying to bring some joy to the community, all while honoring that social distancing rule. So that's kind of my quick opener for you.
Yeah, I was just noticing it's on your webpage today, and it was talking about that the station, you should not just come down there and just like pop in.
Right. So we're lucky because we had increased our security here anyways, just as a good practice. So, for example, we just had some member of the public that happened to have some protective garments that they were willing to donate to us. So I share that story. That's a wonderful thing right now. It's still a challenge to get enough PPE for everybody. So that person delivered some gowns. They're going to be in a box. They'll sit for a day, and we can use our decontamination process that we do. And we're the same as the public. It's a cultural change for us too. And we just constantly try to improve every day at doing better. I'm really proud to say the calls that we've reviewed, we have transported some people to the hospital that are COVID positive, and we review that to make sure we have any type of flaw in the system and have any contamination, and we're doing really well in that regard.
I'm going to ask you about that too. However, when you were talking about the community, it really struck me. I was on your website, I was on the police department's website and Facebook pages, and there was a picture of a street that had come out and just like lined the street with signs thanking the police and the fire departments for what you all do. It's just so nice to see that, you know, people understand when in a time like this that we've never had before, we have to be at home and you can't be at home, and you're not, and you're there, you know, for when we need you.
Yeah, and you know, I give the staff a lot of credit. We have the DPW that's out there right now. Some of the town services like IT and you know, health and services. Amy for the seniors is working hard. We're all trying to do some role, and everybody, even whether you're at home or at work, everybody's feeling a little stressed. This is not normal, and I'm proud of how the community as a whole has responded. When we put our group together right in the beginning, we set some goals. You know, internally we look at the structure and what we're trying to accomplish. Externally, we worked really hard on getting the messaging out. Josh did a nice job on the web page. Messaging the first couple of weeks for this crisis was challenging. I think you saw all the mixed messaging that was coming from federal and state.
Yeah.
And with the media, it was really challenging. So we had to almost hold back for a while on our messaging until we were really sure of our source and we vetted it well. And we want to be the reliable source of information that's coming in for our Hopkinton residents. So I'm happy with what Josh has put together. We literally did a committee inside of our Hopkinton Emergency Management Group that works that. It involves the schools. It involves basically 20 different groups in Hopkinton that help us so that we're not off track, that we have some unified messaging, and that's been our goal.
You were talking about stress there, and it makes me wonder, because when we hear of, oh, you know what, maybe there's coronavirus or somebody has been exposed, we go inside and we retreat and we go away. But you actually go there and interact with that person and transport them to the hospital. So I imagine that must be a whole different level of stress, knowing that you're heading into that. Are you doing anything, or is the department doing anything, like special yoga exercises, or, you know, I'm just kind of joking, but like, how are you recognizing and helping your department with that?
You know, we mentioned communicate right away. Right in the beginning, we worked on it. The principle isn't new to us. We train a lot. We train for these situations where we're walking into some type of a hazard and we need to protect ourselves against it. So that part isn't new. The volume of it, and the reality is that this is a virus that there isn't a current cure for it right this second. And there are some serious consequences to it. So all of that kind of ratchets it up. We talked early. I give my staff, my union president, a lot of credit. They've been really open in the dialogue. As long as we maintain things like good cleaning, the plan we have right now to clean the fire station, and the fact that it only works if everybody participates, and you got to see what they do here every day, twice a day. There's a deep cleaning that happens in both buildings. That includes, so we have a gym that they've just done a lot of work on. So for physical fitness, we're still able to keep it open. It's challenging because a gym has those surfaces, but they've really done a regimen of making it so that we maintain social distancing, we keep it clean. When they talk, we have a very social group, so they had to divide that some, but they're in two buildings, and they literally make sure that every other chair, when we're talking, we have that distance, and they do good. It is serious. They all go home to a family. That's the danger that keeps us on our toes, because we don't ever want to bring anything home. And I don't have to tell them a lot that, because they feel it. That's the one good thing about this crisis, is we're working with it every day, so we don't let our guard down too much. They're doing transports today that they are all covered with PPE, and it's real time exposure that they are protecting themselves again, and so that kind of keeps their game up.
Yeah, you had mentioned while we were chatting that you did transport somebody that turned out to be COVID-19 exposed. So what does it look like after the ambulance comes back to the station?
Yeah, they'll start the process. We're really clean from the time we go to the scene and the time that we get to the hospital. Anything they do in the ambulance, they're trying to maintain the best environment. Once they deliver the patient, there's a doffing of all the equipment that's done really conscious. They still clean the ambulance with PPE on. When they come back to the station, we've got some other equipment where we're able to, it gets a deep clean, and then we spray it with this piece of equipment that just does a misting, and the misting is designed to encapsulate around. It has a little electrical charge that's designed to encapsulate around and cover everything.
Oh,
So
you've got one of those? I've seen pictures of those in action.
Yeah, and we use that. So it's and again, it takes us a while. So we have 2 ambulances running. They're both running today nonstop. A lot of normal activity and then some COVID related. The last couple of days, our call volume has gone up a lot because of the storm. And on a nice day, people can get a little more active, I think, as part of it. Generally, our call volume had been down a little bit for the first 3 or 4 weeks. So that was good. We're not feeling like a stress of too many calls. So that was the one positive thing we've had.
Wow. That's like amazing. Did you have that fogging thing before, or did you get it in response to our current situation?
That was in response to the current situation. I have to give a lot of credit to the school department because they have a lot of equipment that they do some deep cleaning already. And they were able to not only assist us with the Board of Health and some of their nurses helping with them, but they helped us for fire and police with some equipment. They had extra eye protection. They had these machines that we were able to use for all the town buildings that spray the disinfectant. Trying to think of what else I got from Tim. I think those were the 2 main things. So it's just nice that as soon as we started to study what the problem was, and we had this group together of 20 some odd people that is our Hopkinton Emergency Management Group, is we put the needs up in front of everybody, and that day we became operational, and we've done nothing but improve since then. I work with MEMA. We get supplies. We actually are well supplied as a town and as a community for police, fire, DPW. We're all able to stay operational and practice to be prepared for somebody needing help. And if they are infected by the virus, we can still go in and get the job done safely. So we're almost ahead of some communities in that sense. It all depends on how well we do, that the volume doesn't rise too much, and sure that we don't expose our first responders and lose them from service. So we had a couple little test cases right in the beginning of this. I was one that happened to get a fever, and we were like, oh, we can't afford. I had to go get tested because we can't afford to have me near anybody and lose more people. So the police had one that they had to deal with, and I think that was a good thing almost because it gave us that pucker factor that everything's real and we solve for what's the best way to get back in service. And I think we're better off for it now.
Did you have to isolate?
I did. Yeah, I had
14 days.
And I was able to get a test. My symptoms went away. There's a review process that the Board of Health does. So between them and my own physician, we assessed it all. And once I had enough days, it took 7 days plus a negative result on the test, plus 3 days that I was just symptom free of anything.
Yeah.
Challenging during what I infamously get allergies this time of year. So I kept thinking that way, but I was very precautious, and it was a good start for us to make sure we're very diligent on our processes.
Right. That's what I worry about because I have seasonal allergies too. And now I just know every time I sneeze, everybody's going to be like, oh, what's that? It's just
I had a slight fever, and that's a big trigger. So, I mean, when you get a fever, that's when you really want to think. The other series of signs are a factor, but that's a real red flag is when the fever kicks in, and fever doesn't come with allergies normally. You know, I probably had a sinus infection or something like that, but It's good for us to react and not call it allergies at that point.
Right. I really appreciate the fact that you were saying that it was really nice working with the school department and they were very helpful, because one of the things I really love is that the main three legs of our community, the police and fire, the town hall, and the school department, are always referencing each other about how well you all work together. There's no animosity. There's no ego. It's just like you guys just work in synchronicity to get a job done. And you mentioned a group. Did you say it was a 20-member group? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So our emergency response group is called Hopkinton Emergency Management Group. We have a regional response that we do for when they call an LEPC or an REPC. So that's how you generally, but in Hopkinton, we have our own local group that handles emergency. So you might hear another town talk about their COVID response group. This group, Hopkinton Emergency Management Group, deals with, for example, when we had Triple E, or we were dealing with West Nile last fall, when we have big storms, anytime that the capacity of just one of the departments starts to get stressed, or we think the incident might escalate to that level, we bring the group together. At a minimum, it gives us all situational awareness. And in those meetings, when we're talking about what's going on, we can then prepare for what we might have going forward. So this is one of the greatest examples of the need that we've had in my history here in Hopkinton, to be honest with you. Just to have that type of feedback. Even when we talk about stress, say, just having Dawn from Youth Services, she comes right in and talks to us about the programs that are out there, and having Amy from the Senior Center, she's really used to helping the groups of seniors out there, and we just have those conversations, and it helps all of us there, and it makes sure that we don't miss a group that might be impacted. That's the one danger. So we had really good dialogue, and just for example, we have the response to COVID, and then I told you our first goal was to get information out, so we put a committee for that, and right after that we realized the two real stressors that would be on the sidelines that could surprise us, or that there might be a need, was the youth services. The kids not being at school and having their normal environments can be really challenging. And then the seniors, we see the seniors almost every day at the Senior Center, and doing the Veterans Breakfast and just working with them. So my mom sitting at home, watching her for 6 to 8 weeks now, it's really challenging. It's not easy. So it's neat to have these groups together so we don't miss something as a community. Right.
Kind of switching topics a little bit. I'm wondering, because you're the guy in charge, how is this environment affecting your budget and all of your operational needs?
Well, don't jinx me, but so far so good in the current world. It's interesting. I'm the emergency management director, so my role is to kind of bring it together. I don't like to say I'm in charge. I do like to say I bring it together. This emergency actually is kind of unique in a way that it's a public health emergency, which really Sean and his group are the lead agency. Many of the other incidents that our emergency management group would deal with tended to be either police or fire, some public safety, or something to do with the schools in public safety. But this one's been a little unique, and our group's purpose is to support the Board of Health in dealing with that emergency. And so we're not necessarily in charge, but we really bring a lot of support to them. Mm-hmm. Specific to the budget question, it's a good one. The unique thing is, with the shutdown, I was able to take people from inspections and trainings and other areas and kind of bolster our group. And if anything, I've had actually a little bit of savings in the current model. But the shutdown has brought this unintended consequence where, as a community, we know we have some potential revenue challenges coming forward. I actually looked at the town manager or something and said, hey, can we not talk about that too much right now while we're in emergency response? But, that's something you do have to worry about. We have a lot of people that we serve that aren't working right now, and they're challenged. And we don't know what next year's budget will look like now. And so far, so good. We're actually, the town manager is working with our groups. We're actually trying to see if we can save some money right now to try to lower the impact of the potential future. And that's something we've never really had to do in the middle of an emergency before, but this is such a large crisis. It's something, it's really like larger than 9/11 was. It really is a huge unknown crisis.
Yeah. For us at HCAM, we always say trying to make a TV show without a TV station is a little bit more challenging, and it's really focused us on the community in HCAM. And we did a show yesterday with Amy from the senior center, and they were talking about the senior center without walls. So, because obviously that's like a big social gathering spot, so it's causing them to reconsider or think about ways to do things differently. And I'm wondering from your perspective, how this is changing how you perceive aspects of your department and how it operates and how it works with the community.
Sure. Probably the two major things is there's been a little more delegation because I need to just not be there all the time with my troops. We're trying to distance ourselves. Our police and fire interact a lot with the public. So even when we've been challenged, you mentioned a picture of the community thanking people, but we've had to chase that and make sure we are able to maintain social distancing. A few of those pictures weren't great because the community got too close or our own people got a little close. So we've had to monitor that a little bit. And those are probably our biggest challenges. We're used to shaking hands and hugging kids and putting them on fire trucks and doing that interaction. So, but we're getting better at it. And I've said all through this crisis, that's been our goal. Let's get a little better each day.
Mm-hmm. All right. Our time's starting to grow short. I just want to check, Bob, just something you wanted to say?
Well, I wanted to ask the chief, I know that he mentioned personnel problems and coordinating and organizing the personnel between here and Woodville. But I wondered if there any changes in leadership have happened besides the chief of police leaving, if that's having any effect on the planning or the process that we've been going through to stay safe in Hopkinton. I don't know if anybody's been affected by the coronavirus that's left the management team or anybody new that's coming in. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, so one of the big preparedness, there's kind of a lucky exercise we're in the middle of right now. We are just rewriting our SEMP, which is our emergency management plan for the community, the hazard mitigation, and then a third document is called a COOP, which is a continuity of operations. We were all in the process of rewriting that, so we're literally almost doing that live now. We have those templates distributed, and you always have to say who is the second and third person, almost like the New England Patriots, next one up is what happens. So it can't just be one person that can run one of these shows. So I'll give Chief Lee a lot of credit. They had created a deputy chief slot. They have lieutenants. They have an additional sergeant. So they had some real command structure in there. And that's what it's supposed to be. I was sick. 1 second later, I was quarantined for 7 days. So, my group had to be able to operate. I have a deputy chief. I have staff that works upstairs, administrative staff. And then my command officers kept going. And the people, this isn't new to them, this crisis and being prepared. So they stepped up good. So all of that I'm kind of proud of. And I think as a community, it's nice that we've been able to have the staffing that we have. Some communities don't have the luxury of the staffing that we have. And I think it gave us this capacity to handle this emergency.
That's great.
Do you think the department's policy of promoting from within has helped maintain the staff so that there's not a big transition or turnover?
Yeah, we've had very very little turnover in the fire department. For about 3 years now, so I've been a chief for 4 years. For 3 years, working with the Board of Selectmen, our number one goal has been in the area of employee development. So we've expanded our employees' ability either internally to train or externally. In February, they had a professional development conference in Worcester for 3 days, where we had 10 of our staff that were able to see speakers that you would see nationally. And that, what does that do? It kind of like helps you get out of your little Hopkinton bubble. It helps you get motivated. It helps you start thinking about, your exposure to lecturers that have grown. And I have like 6 people that are currently in higher education programs. And that's something that, there's several that already have bachelor's degrees, but just to see that re-interest in higher education was really important. And that gets to that succession planning. You can't become a fire chief now and not have a level of higher education. It really calls for a minimum of a bachelor's degree, and you really need your master's degree and a lot of background if you want to nail it. So,
all right. Thank you, Chief. Our time is dwindling away. So Tom wants to say something, and then I'm going to wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, Chief. I know you guys work with a lot of different local fire departments in the area. I'm just curious about if you are in communication with them and kind of making sure that you're all following the same type of protocols. And also, has the social distancing affect how many people you would send to a certain call?
Boy, that's a big one. Yeah. So I work with the regional departments on a regular basis. They also built a regional coop, which means, say our department, there's a few departments in the state right now that literally lost half of their members. They're in isolation. So we would look to another community to help us, because you can't run a fire department with half of your organization gone. So that setup is around here. The easiest way to do that is I've called a couple of our neighbors. I work really closely with Ashland and Westboro. We have really similar setups, so they're ready to help us. You had one more part to the end of your question here. I'm trying to think of
how does it affect how many people you send to an incident?
Oh, so you've probably seen for all of our incidents, we've tried to say, we've changed our operations. We literally say, what is the fewest number of people that we can send? We may not, for example, if there was a fire alarm, we might send 2 or 3 people in an engine so they could do the basic minimums. Only one would even go into the house right now. Normally, we always work in teams of 2, but that was a change. Medical emergencies, right now, we only have 2 people even go into any residence or facility. So that's kind of the control factor. It helps us save on our PPE usage. So the only reason there are some people that would still go to the call is in case there is some action that requires more people. So at least we have the resource available.
Okay. Thank you for that. And I'm really sorry. We only have about 30 seconds left, and I really want to ask you this, even though it's going to be uncomfortable. What can we do for you and your department during this time?
You heard what I said about the basics, and it's, if you stay clean and you honor social distancing and you're staying home and that works, lowers the load. I know you've heard that a bunch of times, but it takes everybody to do that. Our call volume in the last month has been down. That's a good thing. That leaves us capacity. So for that, I thank everybody.
All right, well, Chief, we all thank you too.
Okay.
Yeah, we see you in the toughest situations, and we hope to talk to you again soon.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Take care. And thank you for watching this Hangout Hour. Please come back tomorrow where we will have more conversation with Hopkinton.